Do you ever feel like women just look straight through you even though you're standing right there in front of them? Does it seem like no matter what you do, girls never take notice of you? Do you often think to yourself, man, I must know how the invisible man felt? This is one of the most common frustrations in the dating world for men today. And yet it's one of the easiest to overcome, because the reality is that invisibility is a state of mind that most guys allow themselves to be put into. I used to be there. I used to think, I must be the invisible man. There's no way she can even see. Nothing. No, there's no way she can even see me. No chance at all. Standing right in front of this woman, and it seemed like she couldn't even see me. Half the time, I almost wanted to stand in front of her like, hey, can you see me? Are you looking right through me? And I felt that way for years. For years, I even thought, you know what? I would make a really good spy because nobody can see me. It wasn't until years later that I found out I was actually sabotaging myself, and that it wasn't that she was looking for literally any other guy on the planet besides myself. Actually, it was because I wasn't putting myself out there so that she could even see that I was there. Invisibility stems from two different things. Either you're making yourself overly available, or you're not making yourself available enough. And it looks a little bit like this. So here's the balance. And you can either be too high, which is going to be you're overly available and you come across as needy, possibly even a little creepy. Or you could be too low, and that's the, as we call it, the wallflower, and that's where you're invisible. So up here, well, let's start down here. That's the wait, who is he? Kind of thing that that's what she's thinking. And when you're up here, it's like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, yeah, I know him. Okay, you don't want that. What you want, you don't really want either end of that spectrum. What you want to be is right about here. All right, sort of between your play it cool, and yet I'm interested. In the case of making yourself overly available, you create that persona of desperation, and that actually pushes her away because, again, it comes off as kind of creepy. And a good example of this is a guy that secretly, he thinks he's doing this incognito. He thinks he's being all quiet about it. Slipping into a conversation with a girl about how he's still lonely, he's still looking for a girl, and she kind of, pats him on the head and is like, oh, it's okay, you'll find somebody. The desperate guy could also be doting on the girl's every single need and secretly hoping that his good deed score is gonna get her to fall in love with him. In the case of not making yourself available enough, that's basically, again, being the wallflower and kind of just staying back in the corner and hoping that out of some magic of the universe, she's going to look in your direction and say, oh, I didn't see that over there. Yeah, hey, I know that he's like way out there and he's not, he's really secluded, but yeah, let me go over and talk to him, and then she's going to magically fall into your arms. And that's not going to be the case either, because once again, she doesn't have any indication from you that you're interested in her. So why would she go after you when she's got plenty of other guys that are showing an interest? You need to actually show some interest in her if you want to. The conversation is two-sided. It's not just one person talking to the wall. You actually need to also interact. So you need to show that you're interested in her for her to actually notice you. In both cases, the problem actually builds on itself. You take the guy who's needy, and he becomes needier, and he actually tries to impress the girl even more by doting on her more, and well, that's going to push her away more. And then you've got the guy who he's making himself kind of secluded, saying, oh, maybe today she'll notice me. Well, unfortunately, his is the saddest side, because he's looking at this like, well, she didn't notice me today, and therefore I really must be undesirable, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of, oh, she didn't notice me, I must be undesirable. She still didn't notice me, I must be really undesirable. And it's actually, both cases are leading you down the wrong path that has nothing to do with either one. If you start to realize that you might be that overly available type, you will start to figure that out when your efforts to win, say, Fair Lady's heart are usually met with her going out with the other guy. And she kind of gives you that little, pat on the head, says, well, I just don't have those feelings for you, and I think it's better if we just stay friends. And it's like, well, I did everything, including doing your homework for you. Yeah, but that's not going to create the kind of attraction that she's looking for. Alternatively, if you find that you're the one that's waiting for her to fall into your arms, and she never does, then maybe you want to dial it up a bit. Maybe you want to make it obvious, a little more obvious, not a lot obvious, but a little more obvious, that, hey, I like you. I'd like to take you out on a date, as opposed to sitting back like, kind of hoping that she'd not. Hey, I'd like to ask you out on a date. Would you like to go out with me? Maybe she even says yes. That would be a great idea. Wonderful idea. Yeah, I think we should go out on a date. Okay. By the way, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. Did you know that there's actually women that think this way? Oh yeah, it's not just the guys. No, it's not just the guys. No, there are women that actually take the invisibility approach as well. Women that actually do the wallflower thing too. And there's even women out there, I'll bet you, there's even women out there right now that are secretly hoping you will notice them. Now, does that make you feel great or what? In conclusion, if you feel like you're coming across as the invisible man, then determine, are you making yourself overly available, or are you not making yourself available at all? And I realize that might be a little bit hard to kind of figure out. So here's a good way to figure this one out. So if you have any close friends that you can talk to, ask them, hey, do you think I'm making myself overly available, or do you think I am not making myself available enough? And if you've got some close women friends, then ask them, because women are a little more in tune with emotional intelligence, and they're usually better at picking out what may or may not be working for you. And by the way, I understand that we've got some women now that are listening to this channel. So seriously, do this with your gal pals. They'll be able to help you out. In either situation, you might be a little bit surprised to find out that the vibe you think you're sending actually is not the vibe you were sending at all. And if that's the case, don't despair. Just every single day, don't expect it to do this like overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. I can't snap my fingers, but there we go, overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. Every single day, just make little adjustments towards where you want to be, towards that balance that you want to be at. And that's it for this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, hit that little notification bell. And as always, get out there and ace it. If you found this information valuable and you'd like to know more, go ahead. Click the link below to gain access to my many courses on the topic of dating advice and technique. You can also connect with me at any one of the social media platforms listed below. As always, get out there and ace it.